The Israel-Hamas conflict is a multifaceted tragedy, a Gordian knot of history, religion, and geopolitics. Its roots reach back millennia to the ancient lands of Canaan, claimed by both Israelis and Palestinians as their ancestral home. This shared heritage, however, has become a source of profound division. The Zionist movement, emerging in the late 19th century, sought a Jewish state in Palestine, then part of the Ottoman Empire. This aspiration collided with the aspirations of the Arab population already residing there. The collapse of the Ottoman Empire after World War I brought Palestine under British control, further complicating the situation. Britain's conflicting promises to both Jews and Arabs fueled tensions, culminating in violence and displacement. The 1947 UN partition plan, intended to create two states, one Jewish and one Arab, was accepted by Jewish leaders but rejected by Arab leaders, escalating the conflict into the 1948 Arab-Israeli War. This war led to the establishment of the State of Israel, but also resulted in the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians, an event known as the Nakba, or catastrophe. The 1967 Six-Day War marked another turning point. Israel's victory resulted in its occupation of the West Bank, East Jerusalem, and the Gaza Strip, further displacing Palestinians and deepening resentment. These occupied territories became the heart of the Palestinian struggle for statehood, fueling cycles of violence and resistance. The conflict is not merely a territorial dispute. It's a clash of narratives, a struggle for recognition and self-determination. Both Israelis and Palestinians carry the scars of past injustices, their collective memories etched with pain and loss. The First Palestinian Intifada, beginning in 1987, marked a significant escalation in the conflict. This sustained uprising against Israeli occupation, characterized by civil disobedience and armed resistance, forced the world to confront the human cost of the conflict. The Oslo Accords in the 1990s offered a glimmer of hope, initiating a peace process and establishing the Palestinian Authority. However, the assassination of Israeli Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin in 1995, coupled with continued settlement expansion in the West Bank, dealt a severe blow to the peace process. The Second Palestinian Intifada, sparked in 2000, proved even more violent than the first. Suicide bombings within Israel and harsh Israeli military responses in the occupied territories deepened the cycle of bloodshed. The construction of the separation barrier by Israel, while intended to prevent attacks, further fragmented Palestinian land and fueled resentment. The rise of Hamas, a Palestinian Islamist group designated as a terrorist organization by many countries, added another layer of complexity. Hamas's control of the Gaza Strip after winning Palestinian elections in 2006 led to a blockade by Israel and Egypt, citing security concerns. This blockade severely restricted movement of people and goods in and out of Gaza, exacerbating the already dire humanitarian situation. Periodic outbreaks of violence, such as the 2008 to 2009 Gaza War, 2012's Operation Pillar of Defense, and 2014's Operation Protective Edge, resulted in thousands of casualties, mostly Palestinian civilians. These conflicts highlighted the devastating human cost of the entrenched stalemate and the failure of diplomacy. The international community has long been entangled in the Israel-Hamas conflict, playing the complex roles of mediator, critic, and at times, enabler. The United States, a staunch ally of Israel, has provided significant military and financial aid, often acting as a shield against international pressure. The European Union, while critical of Israeli settlement policies, has struggled to present a united front. Its economic ties with Israel and security concerns regarding Hamas have often hampered its ability to exert significant influence. The United Nations has passed numerous resolutions condemning Israeli settlements and calling for a two-state solution. However, the lack of enforcement mechanisms and the veto power wielded by the US and the Security Council have rendered these resolutions largely symbolic. Arab states, initially hostile towards Israel, have gradually adopted more nuanced positions. The 2020 Abraham Accords, normalizing relations between Israel and several Arab countries, marked a significant shift in regional dynamics. However, these agreements also drew criticism for sidelining the Palestinian issue. The role of international organizations such as the International Committee of the Red Cross and UNRWA, the UN Agency for Palestinian Refugees, has been crucial in providing humanitarian assistance to those affected by the conflict. These organizations have consistently highlighted the dire humanitarian situation in Gaza and the occupied territories, urging for an end to the blockade and respect for international law. Despite international efforts, the conflict remains a diplomatic quagmire. The complex interplay of geopolitics, historical grievances, and ideological divides continues to fuel the cycle of violence, leaving a lasting impact on the lives of millions. The Israel-Hamas conflict stands as a stark reminder of the enduring legacy of unresolved historical grievances. The weight of past injustices, the displacement of populations, and the systematic discrimination faced by Palestinians continue to fuel resentment and resistance. The future remains uncertain. The two-state solution, once seen as the most viable path to peace, appears increasingly distant. The expansion of Israeli settlements in the West Bank, the lack of trust between the parties, and the entrenched positions of their leadership make a negotiated settlement a daunting prospect. The humanitarian situation in Gaza remains dire. The blockade, the lack of basic services, and the constant threat of violence have created a desperate situation for the 2 million Palestinians living there. The international community's efforts to address the humanitarian crisis, while commendable, have proven insufficient in breaking the cycle of despair. The rise of religious and nationalist extremism on both sides further complicates the situation. The rhetoric of hatred and fear only serves to deepen divisions and make peaceful coexistence even more elusive. The international community bears a moral responsibility to work towards a just and lasting solution. This requires addressing the root causes of the conflict, including the occupation, the settlements, and the plight of refugees. A genuine peace can only be achieved through dialogue, mutual recognition, and respect for the rights and aspirations of both Israelis and Palestinians. The path to peace is fraught with challenges, but the alternative is too grim to contemplate. The human cost of this enduring conflict demands a renewed commitment to diplomacy, reconciliation, and a future where Israelis and Palestinians can coexist in peace and security.